Good evening. My name is Tom Schenck, and I am the founder of Dartmouth Associates. And what I thought I would do first is to talk to you about why I started my business. I think as entrepreneurs, we have to crush our personal and business villains. And I was fortunate to have played Spider-Man for Marvel Comics in New York City. So I had a little experience about crushing villains, but that's another story. One of the things I wanted to talk about was what it is we have to do to be an entrepreneur, and that is obviously we have to be able to pivot. Essentially, we have to be able to change our energies in different directions. And I wanted to share basically my why for why I started this company. I'm a lifelong educator and married to an incredible woman for 45 years. But 40 years ago, tragically, she fell down the stairs and was paralyzed because of the fall and had a stroke. And I realized I could no longer live or actually work right outside of the home. So I had to work at home. So that really, in 2020, was essentially how I got started. I had a phone call, I had a phone and a dream. And that's pretty much how it happened. We were fortunate to start making money after 90 days. But one of the things that hit me was when 2020 happened, that was COVID. And during COVID, the economy was down, demographics were down, and private schools and colleges were closing. And the main reason they were closing was because the recruiters, the admission professionals, did not know how to sell in a competitive environment. In fact, it's getting so bad that the Department of Education predicts that one private school or college is going to close a week. That's how bad it's getting. So it was that time I realized that these schools and colleges had to have something specifically set up so they could train their recruiters. And that's what I did. I was a very successful recruiter in private universities and schools, and I was also very successful in advertising sales. So what I did was I put together the first virtual training program to teach sales skills. And as entrepreneurs, you all know that marketing may bring you the leads, but it's sales that brings you the check. And that's something that they really had not pursued. We are an educational technology company. It is will be projected to be a $1 trillion revenue source by 2030. Anybody here familiar with Udemy? Well, I'll give you how fast Udemy has grown. They started with a business division of 1 million in revenues 5 years ago. 5 years later was 100 million. And that's just one company. So that essentially is how we got started. And we essentially started Dartmouth Associates and our sales training program called Roar Enroll Sales Systems, really designed to save private education. So I'm going to run through the pitch deck. And as I said, essentially, 95% of all schools' revenue comes through tuition. I mean, they can talk about we've got to have an endowment or other ways of fundraising. But bottom line, if the kids are not in the door, the school's shutting the door. And there's a factoid that they're not managed well. They don't know how to sell in an environment where you've got people looking at, well, should I be a hybrid student? Should I be a boarding student? Should I be a virtual student? They don't know how to do it. Next. And maybe I'm dating myself, but we're essentially the Dale Carnegie sales course for admission professionals. As I said, we were profitable in 90 days. We've been very fortunate to have a pretty darn good growth. There's a little blip there, but welcome to entrepreneurship. Next. This is what we've projected. We try to be very conservative. The total addressable market is essentially all identified private schools and colleges internationally. And then 24,000 and down to 2,400, that's basically our serviceable, obtainable market. What are we offering? As I said, it's a virtual program. We've got 30 online, what I call mini videos with a virtual playbook. And then we also humanize it because I think training, particularly in education, has to be personal as well. So we have virtual consultations via Zoom. These are some of the things that we talk to them about. I think we can all relate to. If you're selling, you better be an entrepreneur. And we go over what is an entrepreneur, what's the entrepreneurial mindset, basic sales skills 101. How do you set that up in terms of strategies? How do you implement it? And then obviously, every entrepreneur, whether you're an entrepreneur of one or a whole company, you've got to have leadership skills, whether you're just leading yourself or others. One of the things we have put together are, as you can see in the green there, we offer sales tools, team management. We also do profile tests of the staff. Next. This is a little bit about our traction. I won't read everything. Next. Business model. Next. This is basically our go-to-market. This is what we're looking for to institute our national marketing campaign. Those are the 4 places. That's all right. Next. Little bit of hype here about what our folks have said. There you see in the bottom right, 20% increase in 1 year. Next. And there's the gang. And yes, that is my son. Next. There's our contact information. I would be happy to talk to anyone who has particular questions. I just live across the river, so it's nice. And we just moved here six months ago, so I'm delighted to be here. Lastly, last slide, we're looking for $1 million. And like I said here, the seed round, we're raising $1 million in order to hit a $2 million in annualized recurring revenue by Q4. Thank you very much.
What feedback are you looking for? What specifically do you think we might be able to help you with?
It takes a village to raise a kid, and it takes a village to raise a company. Okay. And what I'm looking for is any and all contacts who either have a passion for education. I tell you one of the reasons why private education. Why does it mean something? Who cares? You know, it's a lot smaller than public education. My mother actually was a public school teacher. I'm a product of public schools. But career-wise, it was all private education. And for me, private education gives out a larger percentage of scholarships and financial aid to the disenfranchised folks. So by these schools closing, not only are thousands of kids losing the opportunity for college, by the way, about 60% of the kids, if they're at a college that closes, do not return to college. They do not return to college. When I was in school, everybody, you finish where you start. Most people, they're school hopping anyway.
One of the questions I have is when it's $30,000 for a customer, is there a limit on how many recruiters they can put through that program with you?
It's a personal business.
Yeah.
And so we've got a number of people. If we need to have more coaches, if you will, we can add that.
Okay.
The average, it's crazy. I'll tell you how it's gone, and I don't see where the money's coming from. But when I started teaching the boarding school, the price was about $15,500. It's now $75,000 per year for a junior high kid to go to prep school, and college is right there.
What brought you to South Central PA? And where'd you come from?
So we have one son that lives with us now, and my other oldest son was in New York, started a very successful painting company here in Harrisburg, and I said I miss my son. So, in answer to your question, it's all about family. So I feel very blessed. I will tell you that private schools and universities, they're kind of snotty. The word sales is something that they don't use. I mean, I've got a lot of colleagues who are selling marketing programs, AI programs, social media programs. And my fear with a lot of these people, they're going to go down that road. It's like, oh, you mean we don't have to talk to them as much as we thought we'd have to? We'll let AI sell them. And that is absolutely the wrong thing, because as entrepreneurs, we know ultimately people will get involved with other human beings, not business plans. Thank you very much for your kindness. I'll be around, and I'd love to chat with you. Thank you.